How's it going, everyone? This is Clars with HireGoodCoders.com, and I'm here today to show you how to set up your Windows environment. I'm just going to jump right in. I'm going to start off by going to the Start menu and typing in CMD. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a shortcut of this on my desktop so that way we can just launch it really quick. We're going to need the command line to do several of the installs and to check it. So go ahead and launch that and get started installing Node. So on our install guide here, we go ahead and show you what command you can type in to see if you already have a program installed. So we'll go ahead and check for Node, and you'll see that I don't have it. So this is a clean install of Windows, so there's really nothing installed. So let's go ahead and go to the website. Node, we're going to download the Windows installer, go ahead and save. Takes just a second to download, and we're going to go ahead and run the installer, say run, and then once it gets started here, we're just going to accept all the default options. Nothing special on Node, so just go ahead. You're going to probably see the Windows alert you that you need to, allow it to install. Alright, so here's the user account control, so go ahead and say yes. It'll go ahead and install at this point. And then we're going to let this installer keep going while we go ahead and close this terminal because we're going to need to reopen it in order to test again. We'll go and close the Node.js website, come back to our install doc. We just did the install. Now once it finishes, we can go ahead and test it. So it's finishing the last part of the install right now. And once that gets finished, like I said, we'll relaunch the command prompt. And you might notice it's a little slow because it's my virtual machine. So not as fast as a normal desktop would be. Go ahead and say finish. We'll relaunch the command prompt. And now we'll go ahead and test again with node -- version. And we'll see that we have Node successfully installed. All right, so let's go ahead and move down the list here. Next is going to be Yeoman, and we can go ahead and test for that. Yo-V, it's not in there. Grunt, and Bower. And we don't have any of those installed, so to install them, we're going to do npm install -g, which will install these globally, and we're going to install Yo, and also generator-web app and generator-angular. So go ahead and paste that in here. Oh, it didn't copy it for me. There we go. And I'm going to cut away and come back when it finishes. All right. The npm install is finished, and you can see that everything went well. I'm going to once again go ahead and close the command prompt and reopen it. And I'm going to test to make sure that these are installed correctly. So Yo-V. You'll see now it's actually taking a little bit of time, so it's a good sign. And it should come back in just a second here with the version of Yeoman. And I don't want to help them make it better right now, but it's version 1.1.2, so that's great. And then we can grunt version. And that's version 0.1.11. And we can check the Bower version. And it's going to probably take a second as well and come back to us in just a second with the version number. All right, so looks like those three are good, so we'll move on. I'm going to close this, get rid of all that, just open a new one. And we're going to move on to Ruby. So Ruby -v, you'll notice Ruby's not a recognized command, so we'll go to the Ruby website. And we'll download. and we'll download, this is a 32-bit computer, so I'll download the 32-bit version. And if you have 64, just go ahead and download the 64-bit version there. And as soon as the download finishes, I'm going to launch the installer. All right, go ahead and again, on Ruby, I make sure to add the executables to your path, and I also choose to associate the Ruby files. So that's my personal recommendation. And then go ahead and install. And then we'll come over to our doc here and add that note to our install, which is add. We'll add it later. And again, I'm going to go ahead and close the command prompt. I'm going to close the tab, and notice that Ruby is finished. So excellent. Go ahead and relaunch the command prompt. And again, we'll test it, make sure it's installed, ruby-v, and Ruby's on there. So moving on to Compass. So Compass is pretty simple. We can test it as well. Compass version. Oh, it's spelled correctly. And nothing. So what we'll go ahead and do is install it. So gem install Compass. I already knew it wasn't on here because there's nothing. Go away. All right. And so I'm going to cut away and come back as soon as this command is finished running. All right, and the Compass installer is finished now. So we'll go ahead and test that by closing our command prompt and relaunching it and simply typing Compass version. And it's taken a second, so it's a good sign. It's going to bring back a version number for us. So Compass version 0.12.2. So excellent. We have Compass installed. Next, we'll move on to Git. So again, we'll run our little test here. Git -- version. It's not installed. And so Git, couple notes here are, if you're using HTTPS, which I do for Bitbucket or for GitHub, because obviously this is Windows, I recommend using version 1.8.0. And the newer version, there seems to be some issues. They really focused on SSH, and it seems the HTTPS is having some bugs. So we'll go ahead and download the version 1.8. So if we scroll down here, you'll see that there is Git 1.8.0. So we'll go ahead and get this one, download it. And then we're going to go ahead and close our command prompt and start our installer. Go and close this. Go and accept. Say next. And there's one important step we want to see on this installer. So I do the defaults here on the first screen, but on the next place where we get choices, I do run git from the Windows command prompt. So that will allow us to do git inside here, which is what I think most developers are going to want to do. So go ahead and click next. We're going to do the default again and just let that install, and we're going to cut away and come back because this is going to take quite a bit of time. All right, the installer is almost complete now. Should be getting close to the end. All right, and we're not going to view the notes. We'll just finish. Go and launch our command prompt again. And now we'll test git -- version. And now we have version 1.8.0, like I said, because we want the HTTPS. All right, and we need to run two other commands, which is git config. global username and also the global user email. So we can just go ahead and copy this and we'll put my name. That sets up the user to be me, so I don't have to enter it every time. And then go ahead and set up the email. All right, and all set there. So everything will be everything's set up with Git, so we'll move on to the next one, which is going to be Java. So again, we can test this with Java dash version, and it's not recognized, so we're going to go ahead and go to their website, do the download, agree, and start free download. And if I remember correctly, they have a tricky installer where they want you to install some extra garbage that you want to make sure you don't install. Go and close our command prompt and close the tab. And so I'll walk you through this installer so you don't get any stuff. So that was a little pre-installer. It's going to go ahead and download Java latest version for us. And then when that gets done, it should automatically come back up. So we'll wait for that. Okay, just as I expected, we don't want the ask toolbar. So this is a type of spyware. I think it's garbage. I would not install it. Go ahead and continue after that. And it's going to run through the normal install process. And so we're going to cut away again and come back as soon as the installer has completed. All right, looks like everything went good and installed. So we'll click close. And looks like it's all in there, version 1.7. So Java is now installed. So the last one is PHP Storm, which we don't need the command prompt for. And go to the JetBrains website. We can click on that. I've already pre-downloaded it, so I'm just going to go find it. I chose the wrong option. I want to go to my downloads folder. Oops. Oh man. Open containing folder. And here's our PHP Storm. Just launching the installer now. So basically we'll just go through the installer like normal. All right, we'll go ahead and let it run the program. And yes, I want to allow it to install. So next, I agree, default location. If you want, you can do a shortcut. We'll do that for our demo. Default. And then we'll come back as soon as it's finished installing. All right, and it's all finished installing. So click finish and go ahead and launch PHP Storm for the first time. And that completes this video. And our next, in a separate video, we'll go through using Yeoman So I hope you enjoyed this, and good luck coding.